discussion concerns convertible underwater luminaires specifically designed for above-ground swimming pools. These lights are initially configured for use in storable above-ground swimming pools, but they include a provision for a one-type field conversion. This conversion adapts the luminaires for use in non-storable above-ground swimming pools. It is important to emphasize that once this conversion is completed, the luminaires cannot be reverted to their original configuration designed for storable pools. The core question revolves around the precise method of performing this conversion to adapt the luminaires for non-storable pool applications. Unfortunately, the text doesn't provide explicit step-by-step instructions on how to execute the conversion. This lack of detailed guidance necessitates further investigation to obtain the required information. Given the absence of specific instructions within the initial documentation, the most logical course of action involves contacting the manufacturer of the luminaires directly. Manufacturers typically possess comprehensive technical documentation and can provide detailed guidance on performing the field conversions safely and effectively. This direct communication can clarify any ambiguities and ensure the conversion is executed correctly, maintaining the luminaire safety and performance. In addition to contacting the manufacturer, it is crucial to thoroughly review any accompanying documentation that may have been included with the luminaires. This documentation may contain supplemental instructions or diagrams illustrating the conversion process. Careful examination of all available resources can potentially reveal the necessary steps and precautions for successful conversion. It is also essential to prioritize safety throughout the conversion process. Before commencing any work, disconnect the power supply to the luminaires to prevent electrical shock. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves, to minimize the risk of injury. If you are not comfortable performing the conversion yourself, consider engaging a qualified electrician who has experience with underwater lighting systems. A qualified electrician can ensure the conversion is performed safely and in compliance with all applicable electrical codes and regulations. Furthermore, adherence to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, is paramount when dealing with electrical installations near swimming pools. Article 680 of the NEC addresses the specific requirements for swimming pool electrical systems, including underwater lighting. It is crucial to understand and comply with these requirements to ensure the safety of swimmers and prevent electrical hazards. Some key considerations from Article 680 include proper grounding and bonding of all metallic parts associated with the pool, the use of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, to protect against electrical shock, and maintaining appropriate separation distances between electrical equipment and the pool water. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in serious injury or death. The NEC mandates specific requirements for the installation and wiring of underwater luminaires. For example, Section 680.23. B addresses the requirements for lighting fixtures and lighting equipment. It specifies that underwater luminaires must be specifically listed for the purpose and must be installed in accordance with the listing instructions. The listing ensures that the luminaire has been tested and certified to meet safety standards for underwater use. Section 680.23. B also requires that the luminaires be installed at a minimum depth below the water surface. This depth requirement is intended to prevent swimmers from coming into direct contact with the luminaire. The specific depth requirement may vary depending on the type of luminaire and the local electrical codes. Furthermore, the wiring for underwater luminaires must comply with specific requirements to ensure safety. Section 680.25. Requires that the wiring be installed in a rigid metal conduit, an intermediate metal conduit, or rigid non-metallic conduit. These types of conduit provide physical protection for the wiring and help to prevent damage from corrosion or impact. The wiring must also be properly grounded and bonded to ensure that any fault current is safely diverted to ground. This grounding and bonding system helps to prevent electrical shock hazards. GFCI protection is another critical safety requirement for underwater lighting systems. Section 680.23. A3 requires that all 120 volts and below branch circuits supplying underwater luminaires be protected by a GFCI. A GFCI is a device that detects small imbalances in the electrical current and quickly interrupts the circuit, preventing electrical shock. GFCIs are highly effective in preventing electrocution in wet environments and are essential for swimming pool electrical safety. In addition to the NEC requirements, local electrical codes may also impose additional restrictions or requirements for swimming pool electrical systems. It is crucial to consult with local electrical inspectors or authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Failure to comply with these codes can result in fines, penalties, and potentially dangerous electrical hazards. Regarding the specifics of the field conversion, it is likely that the process involves changing some internal components or wiring configurations within the luminaire. The manufacturer's instructions will provide detailed information on which components need to be changed and how to properly reconfigure the wiring. It is essential to follow these instructions precisely to ensure the luminaire functions correctly and safely after the conversion. Some potential aspects of the conversion process may involve adjusting the voltage or current settings of the luminaire to match the requirements of the non-storable pool application. Non-storable pools may have different electrical system characteristics compared to storable pools, and the luminaire may need to be adjusted accordingly. The manufacturer's instructions will specify the correct voltage and current settings for the non-storable pool application. Another aspect of the conversion process may involve modifying the mounting or sealing of the luminaire to ensure it is properly installed and watertight in the non-storable pool environment. Non-storable pools may have different wall or structure configurations compared to storable pools, and the luminaire may need to be adapted to fit these configurations. The manufacturer's instructions will provide guidance on how to properly mount and seal the luminaire to ensure it remains watertight and secure. After completing the conversion, it is crucial to thoroughly test the luminaire to ensure it is functioning correctly and safely. This testing should include verifying that the luminaire is properly illuminated, that there are no electrical leaks or shorts, and that all safety features are functioning as intended. If any problems are detected during testing, they should be addressed immediately before using the pool. Proper maintenance of the underwater luminaires is also essential for ensuring their long-term performance and safety. Regular inspections should be conducted to check for any signs of damage, corrosion, or wear. Any damaged or worn component should be replaced promptly to prevent electrical hazards. The luminaires should also be cleaned periodically to remove any dirt, debris, or algae that may accumulate in the lens or housing. A soft cloth and mild detergent can be used for cleaning, but harsh chemicals or abrasive cleaners should be avoided as they may damage the luminaire. By following these guidelines and consulting with the manufacturer or a qualified electrician, you can safely and effectively convert the underwater luminaires for use in non-storable above-ground swimming pools. Remember that safety should always be the top priority when working with electrical systems, and it is essential to comply with all applicable codes and regulations. Considering that specific instructions aren't provided, here's a focus on general electrical safety and relevant NEC guidelines applicable to pool lighting to ensure safe installation practices. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides comprehensive guidelines for electrical installations, including those related to swimming pools. Article 680 specifically addresses the requirements for swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. It covers various aspects of electrical safety, including bonding, grounding, GFCI protection, and wiring methods. Bonding is a critical safety measure that helps to minimize the risk of electric shock in and around swimming pools. Section 680.26 of the NEC requires that all metal parts of the pool structure, including the reinforcing steel, metal deck, and metal fittings, be bonded together. Bonding creates an electrically continuous path that helps to equalize the voltage potential between different metal parts. This equalization reduces the likelihood of a dangerous voltage difference that could cause electric shock. The bonding conductor must be sized according to the NEC requirements and must be connected to a common bonding grid. This grid serves as the central point for bonding all metal parts of the pool structure. Grounding is another essential safety measure that helps to protect against electrical shock. Section 680.21 of the NEC requires that all electrical equipment associated with a pool, including pumps, filters, and lighting fixtures, be properly grounded. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the circuit breaker or GFCI and energizing the circuit. The grounding conductor must be sized according to the NEC requirements and must be connected to the equipment grounding terminal. GFCI protection is a critical safety feature that helps to prevent electric shock in wet environments. Section 680.22 of the NEC requires that all 120 volt receptacles within a certain distance of the pool be protected by a GFCI. A GFCI is a device that detects small imbalances in the electrical current and quickly interrupts the circuit, preventing an electrical shock. GFCIs are highly effective in preventing electrocution in and around swimming pools. Wiring methods for swimming pool electrical systems must comply with specific requirements to ensure safety. Section 680.25 of the NEC specifies the types of wiring methods that are permitted for use in swimming pool applications. These include rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, rigid non-metallic conduit, and electrical metallic tubing. The wiring must be installed in accordance with the NEC requirements and must be protected from physical damage and corrosion. The NEC also addresses the requirements for underwater lighting in swimming pools. Section 680.23 specifies that underwater lighting fixtures must be specifically listed for the purpose and must be installed in accordance with the listing instructions. The luminaires must be installed at a minimum depth below the water surface and must be properly grounded and bonded. The wiring for underwater luminaires must be installed in a rigid metal conduit, an intermediate metal conduit, or a rigid non-metallic conduit. In summary, converting underwater lights for above-ground pools requires careful attention to detail and adherence to all applicable electrical codes and regulations. Contacting the manufacturer or a qualified electrician is essential for obtaining specific instructions and ensuring a safe and successful conversion. By following these guidelines and prioritizing safety, you can enjoy the benefits of underwater lighting in your above-ground pool without compromising your safety or the safety of others.